over. It's time for Gutbuster Radio. The legend T. James Logan talks with independent pro wrestling stars from around the world. Gutbuster Radio.
Our very first episode, we got a chance to talk to a guy I've known for quite a few years. We are friends, and I haven't really seen him one-on-one a lot in the last couple of years. He moved from where I knew him over to the West Coast, where he's making a big splash in the Vancouver area. He's the current ECCW Canadian champion. He is a hoot and a holler to watch, and I'm not kidding you. Listen to this guy. Look up his stuff. Folks, here's Ravenous Randy Myers.
You're listening to Gutbuster Radio with the legend T. James Logan.
Gutbuster Radio.
Hey fans, welcome to our first edition of Gutbuster Radio. Today I get a chance to talk to a guy who has a very big name in Western Canada. I've seen this guy a lot, and I want you to get the chance to meet Ravenous Randy Myers. Randy, first of all, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me, especially as your centennial guest. Is that what you call it?
Our inaugural guest. Our inaugural guest.
Geez, there you go. Right off the bat, showing my lack of vocabulary skills.
That's okay. Which is ironic, because this guy can talk, folks, and you're going to see. We're going to get him to do a little spiel and a little bit of stuff of some of his magic. The guy can talk. So, first of all, if I'm the casual person and I've just seen Randy Myers and I want to get to know a little bit about him, where did you get started in this whole wrestling thing?
Well, I got started in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, the birthplace of the Hart family, and I trained alongside the Hart dynasty of Tyson Kidd and Natalia Neidhart and Davey D.H. Smith, whatever we're calling him today, Harry, I call him. And you have Teddy Hart as well. I started Ted Hart at a pro wrestling camp for kids at the time when I was 17 years old. And my mom was tired of me breaking her futons and stuff like that around the house. So when I came to her with the idea of getting professionally trained, she was all for it.
Well, you know what?
And so,
sorry, go on. I thought you had a break.
I started training there, and I trained with Ted for a while, and then for about a year when I was 17, and then Matt Rat's promotion came up, which was a very short-lived kids wrestling promotion, which was looking like it was possibly going to get a television pilot, but then that ended up falling through. And then when that fell through, I started training in the dungeon.
Well, you know what? You mentioned about breaking futons and stuff. My question for you is, and I'm always very interested in this, what was that? What got you wanting to be a wrestler, though? To physically do this? Like, was there a certain wrestler you saw? Was there a match? What made it click in for Randy Myers that, you know what, this is what I want to try and this is what I want to do?
Well, I've always had big goals and big dreams for me. There's been a laundry list of things I wanted to do, but one of the things was always professional wrestling. I saw it as a way that you could really express yourself theatrically. I'm big on acting, but I don't like following lines necessarily or doing exactly what I'm told, and I saw there was lots of room for improvisation and kind of coming up with your own script and your own character. So I just wanted to do that and play me to the upteenth degree. So yeah, I don't know if there was a moment or anything like that. Mick Foley was always my idol, and I've always looked up to his work and stuff like that, both like in and out of the ring. So he was definitely one of the guys that led me towards this wacky dream we call professional wrestling.
Now, how was the step up from the acting part to, getting punched in the face or kicked in the stomach? I mean, it must have been a bit of a shock to actually do it.
Well, like I said, I did some acting and stuff like that in high school, and I'd always get in trouble for not wanting to play the way they wanted us to play. They'd want us to do these lame pratfalls and pull all of our punches really weakly. And I'm like, well, the fans, they can see that. The people in the audience know that we're faking it. Why don't we just hit each other a little bit here? And the drama teacher would always give me grief for that. So I ended up getting kicked out of drama because I wanted to bring some realism to that. So then I thought, let's just go to wrestling. If that's where they want me, that's where it is.
Now, you talked about being in the Hart Dungeon. For those people who have heard the mythical Hart Dungeon, tell us a bit about being in there itself. What exactly was that like, the training regiment and whatnot?
Well, it was fairly terrifying, especially going in there at 18. and I was a very small and meek little boy, so I was never an athlete or anything like that. Like I said, I came from the theatrical side more than anything. So being in there with former football players and guys that were like 260 pounds, maybe hung over from a night of partying the night before, and they're just looking to beat some young scrappy kid up. So it was pretty rough on me, but it definitely turned me from a meek little wiener into the man I am today, the Ravenous one, as it were.
Now, you know what? I am glad you brought up Ravenous. That is your moniker. What does that mean to you? Is there a meaning that's about Ravenous that applies to you that you feel inside? What is that all about?
Well, I've always said it meant like an eternal hunger. So even when you've got something, you still want more. And I think that that's kind of a good model for my life. I've always wanted more. When I've got something, I'm never content. I'm always wanting more. At some point, that sucks because, like I said, I'm never content. But it always leaves me hungry for more. So
excellent.
I think it's quite suiting.
Yes, you know, for a lot of people who may never have physically seen you before, you also have a very unique look to you. And the entire time I've known you, you have this sort of, I don't know, wrestler meets artist sort of thing. What drives you to have that kind of very different look instead of going for the generic cookie cutter that it seems like a lot of wrestlers may try to emulate?
Well, yeah, I've never really wanted to actually emulate anyone in the ring. There's been many heroes that I've had over the years, but I've always wanted to bring something special and something different to the ring. I've always liked the guys that were different and had their own unique look. So the cookie cutter thing really doesn't do it for me. The crew cuts and the skull tattoos and the little Speedo, it's just, I mean, that works for them, and I love wrestling in all shapes and sizes, but for me, I want to bring something different, and I want to be a hero to all the little weirdos out there.
Now, you talk a lot about having you being the weirdo hero and that sort of thing. You have this connection with fans. Even from the first time I met you, you had a lot of very close fans who would hang around and want to see you. What's that like being so close with the people? I mean, a lot of wrestlers may hold themselves back from their fans, but that's never seemed to be a problem for you.
I never really understood why any fan would, or any wrestler would want to hold themselves back from the fans. I mean, it's independent wrestling. We're not making a lot of money. We're not doing it for the girls that come to the show. I certainly hope not. Or like riches and fame. You know what I mean? We're doing it for that connection with the fans. You know, if we can make that kid's night awesome, then that's what I want to do. You know what I mean? I got in it to be a hero, not to be back like a rock star. I got in it to be someone that people could look up to and maybe be like, hey, I want to be like that one day.
Well, you know what? I'd like to get back now to a little bit more of history with you.
All right.
We've got to the point where now you've trained, and where do you make your ring debut, and who was it?
Well, my first in-ring debut was actually for the doomed Matt Rats promotion. And I had a 6-man there. Well, I believe it turned into a 5-on-1, and that was me and 5 guys me and 4 other guys who I don't think any of them have wrestled since, really. And then our opponent was Hannibal, the man who contracted hepatitis C or whatever, supposedly from Abdullah the Butcher.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have a long history together, and then that was in the Palace nightclub in Calgary, and it was a jam-packed house, and it was a hell of a show, especially for my first experience. You know, like there I am, 17, just a kid who wants to start to learn how to wrestle. I hadn't even really learned what I was doing. I learned one choreographed match, and I put that match on as best as I could. I had no body, I had no spandex, I had no look. I was still trying to find myself then, but that was my very first match. And then from there, I went and continually hassled Bruce Hart for the next 8 weeks, or no, I think it was longer than that. It was 8 shows, so that would have been just over 6 months. And I kept asking him every show. I got myself some gear. Wasn't pretty, but I bought every single show, and I'd say, hey, do you have a space for me? Do you have a spot for me? Do you have a spot for me? And finally, I think he just got annoyed with me enough to put me in there and get my ass kicked, and I came back and I thanked him very much, and I continued to get my ass kicked for him. And then from there, he invited me to come into the dungeon, and then he used me as a whipping boy there, which I couldn't be more grateful for. I got my ass handed to me from a plethora of people, the dungeon was notorious and known all around the world. So people would come, not even necessarily to train. They would come just as tourists, and they would come and beat the hell out of me down in the dungeon. Bruce would be like, "Hey, you ever thought about trying out a chop or get in here, Randy? We'll let this guy give you some chops." So next thing you know, there's either some small little Japanese tourist or some giant Norwegian with snow boots on, because it's the middle of December in Calgary, and they're either stomping me or kicking me in the or stomping me or whatever. You have no plans on ever wrestling, but give them a memory they'll probably never forget.
Now, you talk about with such like affection. It's kind of interesting to hear that. You get to be a whipping boy, but I feel like you really feel that was really important in your development.
Oh, definitely. I don't. What is this show PG?
Sorry?
Is this show PG? Well, I won't swear anyway.
No, you can if you want.
I wasn't exactly the best kid. I was a little troublemaker, a little hellion, as it were. I needed some serious discipline in my life. My father wasn't around a lot when I was growing up, so I really looked up to the people I saw on TV, and I was looking for like male influences, and there was nobody more macho than the Macho Man. So I started following wrestling, and from there I still needed like guidance. So I really consider my trainers, whether that be Bruce or Ross Hart or Tokyo Joe or Tyson Kidd or Natalia, all these people, Harry Smith, all these people have really made me who I am today, because if it wasn't for wrestling, I honestly don't know where I'd be. So like I said, if I could be that, if there's some little punk kid out there who doesn't exactly know where his life should go, and he sees me and he's like, "Hey, this weirdo can do it, maybe I can too." That's awesome.
Well, you know what? So let's go to you finished training. What's the first big promotion you start with?
It would have been Stampede Wrestling, and then I was just, I had a brother there by the name of Patrick Myers. I've had a couple brothers over the years, but my first brother was Patrick Myers, and we were a tag team, and we were pretty much your jabronis, your jobbers, whatever you want to call us. We looked up at the lights and proudly did that. That was our spot on the card, and we knew our role, and we took it and learned as we went along.
Now, when you started, did you have the sort of look, and did that just develop over the years, or did you start off as flamboyant as you are now, sorry?
No. Most people might take flamboyant as an insult, but this boy embraces it wholeheartedly. I had I was always, like I said, like a bit of a punk and stuff like that. In high school, I was big in the punk scene like that when I was like 14, 15. But when I got into wrestling, I thought, maybe I should start cleaning up my image a bit. So I just decided to stop dyeing my hair. I grew out like a shaggy Roddy Piper style mop on top of my head. I kind of lost myself for a couple of years. I was really trying to be something I wasn't, just to fit in. And then I went on a northern tour with Brutus the Barber Beefcake. The only reason they brought me along was because they needed someone who was willing to get their hair cut. And I had, like I said, this big moppy head of hair. So they brought me in and decided, you're getting your hair cut, newbie. So I said, no problem. Did it with a smile on my face. And he decided to cut my hair into a mohawk. He got a big chunk off one side, got a big chunk off the other side. And when I got to the back, I just looked at it and I thought, it's been fate. It's been fate all along. I was born to be a punk rocker. I'm happier now with this horrendous haircut than I was before. So let's go with it. So from there, I just kind of groomed what he had kind of made a makeshift mohawk into what it is today. And then slowly but surely, piece by piece, everything kind of fell in line.
Now, did you get a lot of resistance, say, from other wrestlers as you're developing this? Because it's very different. Were there guys who were a little harsh on you for that?
You know what? Actually, they were really good. I got no complaints there. I mean, there were some people who thought, I should maybe get myself a slick-looking tracksuit and maybe some Nikes or something like that, and a good haircut, and I could really be something. But no, I decided, go against that. That's not who I wanted to be. Even if I got the greatest job in the world, but they wanted me to be plain and boring, and they wanted me to main event WrestleMania as Mr. Black Trunks and crew cut haircut. I wouldn't be happy. You know, I'd be lying to myself. I'd be lying to the fans, and they'd be able to see that in my performance. So it just wouldn't be worth it for me.
Well, you know what? You have always been known for kind of a spectacle, and I just want to, in my memories, one of my most unique times seeing you was a retirement, well, not retirement, but you were leaving the PWA, and you did a special show in Calgary where you handed out boxes of milk at the end of the show, and it was such a unique thing having all these fans come together with you and just celebrate you.
That was, I stole that from Andy Kaufman, where he took a bus full of his fans after a show at Carnegie Hall and took them for milk and cookies. And I thought, you know, what could I do to really show these fans that they always meant something to me, and they were giving me something that I've always wanted when I was a child. So what could I give them that would kind of emulate that? And I thought, nothing fits better than milk and cookies. So that was hard, though. To find those little cartons of milk, I had to go all over Calgary. I made like 8 different stops at Safeways and stuff like that. Yeah, and I probably looked like a weirdo, too, buying all of those things. Even more of a weirdo. But that's fine with it was a great moment, and yeah, one I'll never forget. I'm sure, like you said, lots of fans have never forgotten either.
Yeah,
in attendance. So.
It was quite a unique thing. I don't think I'd ever experienced kind of a unique kind of gesture mixed with a lot of genuine feeling that the fans had. I mean, it was sort of like everyone was sad, but everyone was so proud and happy to see you going on to better things.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've always had the greatest fans. Like, I call them my Ranarchists because they really feel like they're a movement or we're all a family. So I've become a godfather to one of my fan sons, and I hold that very proudly. And, you know, they've done a lot more for me than I've probably done for them.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about the current state of Randy Myers. Currently, you are now based out of the Vancouver area and wrestling for a promotion called ECCW. And not only are you wrestling for this promotion, but I believe you're their current champion.
You're damn skippy I am. I am the current ECCW champion.
Now, ECCW has always been a very big name in the West Coast. What's it like going from Alberta, where your roots out of Calgary, to the cosmopolitan West Coast and the things going on there?
Well, it's been very hectic. You know, the shows in Calgary I've been picked up now, but for a while there, they were few and far between, 1 or 2 a month kind of thing. And as soon as I moved out here, things have just been going crazy. We have shows 2 or 3 times a month. I'm on the island. I'm down in the States. I'm all over the place. So it's been really great. Scotty Mack and the people at ECCW have been nothing but open arms to me. So I owe the world to them.
Now you're also part of a group, I believe, in ECCW. Tell us the genesis of that and what this group means.
Well, I moved out here with one of my students from Calgary, from the wrestling camp. As I got older and progressed in Calgary, I took over the Ted Hart's Pro Wrestling Camp and was doing the day-to-day work while he was doing the business end of things. So I was training a lot of the students, and that was really great. Tyson Kidd originally had the position, but then once he got picked up for WWE, he was generous enough to give me the position, and I really thank him for that so much, because I learned so much working with these students. But I took a couple of my students, actually, one Andy Bird and one Alex Plexus, and we decided, let's get in a van and let's see what the West Coast has to offer for us. So we came out here, and along the way we were talking all sorts of ridiculous ideas of future superheroes and villains and all sorts of ridiculous things, and we started talking about faction. Maybe the idea of a babyface faction. We came up with the idea for the Riot, which is a 4-person group. It was me, Alex Plexus, Andy Bird, and the wonderful and very talented Nicole Matthews, who I think you should have on your show. You should have all of them on your show, in fact.
I think I'd like to.
So we decided to come to the office with the idea for this group. With a little bit of coaxing, the office went with the idea, and we've gone from there forward. Now, Alex Plexus has left the group because he is a douchebag, as we've always known.
Yes, we have, actually.
Yeah, he showed his true colors once more, and turned his back on us. But, I showed him how it goes, and from time to time I still like to shove my foot up his butt. So, but me and Andy and Nicole are still running rampant as a riot, and there's no end in sight.
Now, along the way in ECCW, have you picked up any actual enemies? I know it's quite easy to make a nemesis. Do you have one right now in ECCW? Somebody who's the ultimate pain in your butt that you seem to always have to deal with now and then?
Well, I was a goof, and I decided that, you know what, when I got this title, I was going to make an open challenge to anyone, any wrestler, anytime, let's bring it on. Not exactly the 24/7 rule, because I like to sleep, and people really don't want to come and attack me in my spare time, because they have no idea what I'm doing. But any wrestler can come at me at the show, so I have a target on me from absolutely everyone in ECCW, whether it be last night I fought Brady Malibu, or the week before I've wrestled Tony Baroni, and I wrestled Alex Plexus as well last week. Dave Bishop I've wrestled. The list goes on and on and on of guys that are just coming at me one after another. But you know what? I'm reasonably paranoid sometimes, but it's good for you. Keeps you on your toes.
Well, you know what? That's obviously a big accomplishment here in Canada to be the ECCW champion. What does the future hold, do you think, for Randy Myers? What are you shooting for, Randy?
You know what? Every day by day, I'd love to have some more exposure across Canada. I'd love to do tours, into the States. I've done some wrestling in the States. I've done some wrestling in the UK. I've done some wrestling across Canada. I've done lots of things, and I just keep having to make more things to add to my list, because truth be told, I've crossed so many things off, and I don't mean for that to sound arrogant at all, but when you're young and you're like, I'd like to do this one day, I'd love to do this, I'd love to do that. Well, I keep just crossing them off one by one, and then I don't know what's next on the list. I'm wanting to step into some comedy and doing that. I've been doing some improv shows out here. I'd love to do some stand-up, so that might be coming up down the line. Wrestling, obviously, anywhere, anyone who wants to book me, I'd love to come and see your small town and come and act wacky with you. So, absolutely anything, the sky's the limit, my man. Things that I never thought were possible were entirely possible and totally within my grasp. One thing I'd like to say, and it's just my belief, is that making it really is what you make of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's been some people who have made it to the big time, you know what I mean, to the WWE, and maybe they weren't happy with it, or maybe they sold out some morals to do it, you know what I mean, and they ended up not staying there or not being happy, and life's too short not to be happy. For a long time, I tried to fit into the mold of exactly what I thought Vince McMahon would want. And, whether that be, it changes every week, right? Whether it be 6'4" and jacked, or whether they want you to be a second generation of someone. I wasn't exactly able to do any of that, because that's impossible. But,
those darn time machines.
I wanted to fit into these molds. And I've never been one to fit in the mold. You know what I mean? I break the mold. I'm bold. That's what I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I realized I could really achieve a lot of these things I wanted to achieve through WWE on my own. So there were things I wanted to do. I thought the only way I could do that was by being exactly what Vince McMahon wanted, or exactly what somebody like that wanted. But that wouldn't be being me. That wouldn't be being honest. That wouldn't be being true to the fans. So, like I said, I've just achieved so much stuff. I'm Heroes Mick Foley. I've got to have a chance to be in the ring with him. I got to do 5 days on tour with him, being his chauffeur for a comedy tour he did out in Vancouver last month, 2 months ago. And that was amazing. So there's been lots of opportunities I've had to live out my dreams, and they don't have to be necessarily while I'm under a contract. So it's been great. It's been a wild ride. I'm in talks to have an action figure made. I've made evented shows in front of thousands of people. I've done all sorts of great things, and it's all been thanks to my friends and thanks to opportunities like that. I got to work on that World of Hurt television show, which was the nationally syndicated, or I guess it wasn't syndicated, but nationally shown wrestling reality show with Roddy Piper. I've got to do so many great things within this realm we call indie wrestling that, like I said, the sky's the limit. Who knows?
Well, you know what? Before we wrap things up, I would be remiss if I didn't ask a question and get you to do one thing. The first question here that I want to ask was, you have a reputation for doing a lot of really fancy mic work or spiel work. First of all, was there a inspiration for that? Was there a wrestler that you heard that you're like, wow, that's the kind of stuff I want to do?
Well, there's always been, the Ric Flair, the wheeling, dealing, kiss stealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, there's always been that kind of thing going around. The Rock had his own spiel. I was always a big fan of the Road Dogg growing up. The way he would get the crowd just into it before he even stepped into the ring. And that always really impressed me, to just be able to have the crowd in the palm of your hand. To me, a promo or mic work for brass fans so much more than a head mare or a flying headbutt or a German suplex ever could. Mm-hmm. So I love using the wrestling platform to shout my mouth off or shoot my mouth off.
Well, you know what? Then I guess to wrap up the show, we're going to get you to do, because I know you can do them off the top of your head and let the fans all across Canada and North America hear a Randy Myers promo.
All right. I weigh 215 and I'm coming at you live and in techno color, but I'm like no other, but I'm still the son of my mother, so no need to duck and cover or run scared, because I don't mean to scare you with my devil-may-care or my 1,000-yard stare. But now that you're prepared, allow me to make you aware of the electric eccentric, the random phantom, the defender of the deranged, and the soldier of the strange. I'm the punk and the weirdo hero, and damn proud to say it loud, your ECCW champion, the only Ravenous Randy Myers.
Well, there you have it, fans. There's some of the magic of current ECCW champion Randy Myers. Randy, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. And
thank you so much for having me as your very first guest. What did we decide it was?
Inaugural.
Inaugural.
That means we're going to have to bring you back for every anniversary show.
Oh, I love that. There we go. See, I'm working. That's a worker for you, my friend.
Well, fans, there you go. If you want to know more about Randy Myers, Randy, is there a email address or some way people can contact to book you, or even just find out more about you?
Find me on Facebook. It's Randy Ravenous Myers. I'm also on Twitter at Ravenous Randy. I say silly, stupid things on there all the time. Add me, book me, come look at my pictures. I've got nice, sexy abs. So if you're a guy or a girl who's into that kind of thing, come check me out.
Wow. Well, there you have it, folks. Ravenous Randy Myers.
Gutbuster Radio.
In the brave new world of internet media, it is important to hire the best team to enable you to reach your customers and share your story. Starting at the planning and development stage and working through to the finished product, Brass Media Canada uses the latest and leading-edge technology and the top talent in their field to bring your message to the internet. You can find us on the web at www.brassmedia.ca.
You're listening to Gutbuster Radio with the legend T. James Logan.
Gutbuster Radio.
Gutbuster Radio is produced by From the Second Row Productions. For show notes, links, and other great independent pro wrestling radio shows, visit our website at www.secondrow.ca. Executive producer for Gutbuster Radio is Thomas Little. Gutbuster Radio is hosted by the legend T. James Logan. Gutbuster Radio is copyrighted and cannot be used in whole or in part without express permission from the Second Row Productions. Sharing is okay via our website or through our Facebook page. Don't forget to like our Facebook page at From the Second Row. Post-production services are provided by Brass Media Canada, who specialize in web content creation. Let Brass Media Canada put you and your customers into conversation mode. Find out more at www.brassmedia.ca. From the Second Row Productions and Gutbuster Radio would like to thank the independent pro wrestling stars who take time to talk to us. Show your support for independent pro wrestling by attending live shows wherever you are. Always remember, You can play football, soccer, hockey, and rugby, but you can't play wrestling.